Hello and welcome back to the channel. As we wind up 2024, we have one final album review left to get done. So, without further ado, this is Fit for an Autopsy and The Nothing That Is. So, seeing as I've already done an album review of Fit for an Autopsy before, I won't be delving into their lore again, so to speak. If you're interested in that though and you missed the original Fit for an Autopsy video, you can find their whole talking, or the section where I talk about them, in the Oh What the Future Holds album from 2022. So, without further ado, let's move on. Track 1 is called Hostage, and it's about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So we start immediately with a drum run and a high and a vocal take where it's just like it's not, a good representation, but I've only been up for the last hour, so I haven't spoken much and my voice is not warmed up, so if I sound a little raspy, that'll be why. Joe Bad sounds as good as he ever does, honestly. Man has a phenomenal run as on vocals. I don't think he's worked on a bad song. The drums are clear and really good. There's some clean vocal usage for the chorus. It is a nice touch, honestly. It feels like the whole song has this impending feeling with this heavy aura just hanging over it. It makes for a great album opener, which almost tries to fill you with this sense of doom for the rest of the track. But yeah, very good album opener. So, track 2, we move on to Spoils of the Horde, which is about 4 minutes and 10. Drums here are pounding as always. The vocals are on point again. Lyrics are basically a war cry of sorts, with lines like a mother's cry, a beggar's plea, the people's final stand, the drugs, the wars, the poverty, it'll break a better man, being the first half of the chorus alone. And there's even a line at one point which says, "How deep is your deceit, you fucking thieves?" So, yeah, it's almost like a war cry for... It comes across to me as it's talking about how what the higher ups or the elite of the world do affects the working man, sort of thing. And it says, the drugs, the wars, the poverty, it'll break a better man. So it's kind of saying all the shit you put us through is kind of what drives us to the breaking point. And some people will snap and it'll be on your heads if it does happen, sort of thing. That's kind of the interpretation of it that I have and the way that I took it. But yeah, that's the sort of vibe it gives off to me. Moving on to track 3 though, we have Savior of None, Ashes of All, which is about 4 minutes and 15 seconds. we move on to yet another banger. Scathing lyrics, amazing guitar work, and tasteful cleans in the chorus again. It doesn't change the pacing at all, when they bring in the clean lyric, or clean vocals I should say. It works very well. And occasionally they're used as backing vocals too, and it's safe to say that so far we're 3 for 3 on bangers with this album. Sorry, I got a tad runny nose. Track 4 is Weaker Wolves. This is one of the shorter songs on the album. It's 3 minutes and 8. So we have a 15-second no, sorry, 15 seconds in, we get the line given to us, cave brain fucking empty head oblivious, which sounds like some sort of insult tirade of a well thought out proportion. Later on in the song, we hear chewed up, spit out, and then there's a tempo change that does like a fade back into the normal tempo after a while. Um, it's a great song. I didn't have too much to say about it because I kind of just got lost in the song. It's one of those ones which happens to me quite frequently when doing these, where I have to have several listens and I still end up kind of like not coming out with much because I'm absorbed in the track. But it was a good one. Track 5 is Red Horizons. Now this one is 5 minutes and 3 seconds long. It is a slightly longer track, one of the 2 or 3 longer tracks on here. It has a slow build into a badass start with the drums, guitars, and the vocals of This Storm Shall Never Pass, which is perfection. The clean vocals for the short chorus fits well. Torn away in red horizons, curse your name, beasts of Zion. Now, I don't talk about world topics here, but as you may have guessed from the ending of that line alone, lyrically, this is about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So it's talking about the effects of such a thing and how it will affect the people and what effects it has had on the people. One particular poignant section was, and on that day hell rained from the skies, the bodies burned so bright that God closed his eyes. Which they take a break, they leave that heavy fucking line hang there in the air, and then it comes back heavier. And by that I don't mean they emphasize the line with like more detail. No, that same heavy, emotionally heavy line comes back vocally heavier. And then after a couple heavier vocal takes of it, it comes back clean. And they keep going and they keep going to drive the point of that poignant line home. And it's effective. It makes you think for sure. It's definitely a heavy song, especially when you've got the lyrics there to study with it, and there's a lot they talk about, but which Fit for a King are known for talking about things like, not Fit for a King, Fit for an Autopsy. Fit for a King is a different band. I get them muddled up occasionally, even though I prefer one over the other. Fit for an Autopsy are known to do this, where they talk about different injustices and conflicty sort of things that impact the people. Like Black Mammoth, where they talk about how like oil lines and stuff like that affect like indigenous people and things. But yeah, definitely a song worth listening to at least once. Moving on, we have track 6, which is The Nothing That Is. This is 4 minutes and 6 seconds long. So we move on to, again, this is like the 6th banger on the album. Drums are really solid. One particular standout line to me is, the nothing that is, the nothing that we become, we dance with the devils, we worship the fallen sons. Also, the guitar solo was superb as fuck. They definitely did not miss with this one at all. A very good addition into the album. And I think its placement, you know, with having such a lyrically and topically heavy song at the midpoint, it's having this afterwards is a fairly good choice, you know. So moving on from there, we have track 7, which is Lurch. Again, this one's 5:02, so this is just a second shorter than Red Horizons. This one has a slow start before the vocals start to build up. very faded out, very like pushed back. It's faint. It's not until the 1 minute 18 mark where it all comes in full force, and it's a fairly solid track. And I particularly loved the little line of "and we lurch into our hearse," but the delivery and emphasis that's put on it with the vocals and the gutturalness of it, it's disgustingly good. Because it's like, "and we lurch into our hearse." Like they really put emphasis on the last word. But like obviously I can't replicate what Joe Bad does because I have nowhere near that amount of talent. Like I have enough to passably like sing in the shower along to songs like this, sort of thing. But I couldn't do that. Yeah, so definitely recommend listening to Lurch and seeing what I am on about with the way that they deliver that line. Track 8 is Lower Purpose. This is 3:11. So again, this is one of the shorter handful on here, and most are around the 4 to 5 minute-ish mark. So we open with "Beast, I am a product of my fucking environment." That is one of the opening lines. The drums again are shining throughout. The guitars are also just solid as hell. And it's a scathing track lyrically. I didn't pull out too much because obviously I've done that with a lot of other songs, and I don't want to over bog this with like lyrics pulled out and highlighted. But again, this is what track 8, and so far there's not been a single bad song on the album. So 8 for 8. They are hitting for a full house here. Like, I don't know the sports terminology. Fucking home run, I guess. Yeah, that would make more sense. So track 9 is "Lust for the Severed Head." This is 3 minutes and 16. So we start with the drums and guitars quickly growing into this hellish track with calls of "This is the rapture" and even "Hell awaits you." And at the 2.5 minute mark, the noises that the guitar makes are fucking filthy. They are so good. I am a slut for making your guitar make awesome sounds. Like this really like tickled me. I heard the noises and I was like, how the fuck do they do shit like this? It's like wailing, it's almost like a sirenish noise. It's insane and I loved it. Like I said, I'm just a sucker for good guitar work a lot of the time, so apologies for yawning there. I thought it was going to be like a hiccup at first, but it kind of ballooned into a yawn. So that leaves us with track 10, "The Silver Sun." Now, this is officially the longest song on the album. It's 6 minutes and 23 seconds, I believe. So we have a slow, like really slow build. Yet again, it starts with the clean vocals backed by drums and a great guitar run, which picks up but stays clean until just before the 2-ish minute mark, where the big boy vocals, as I've written down, comes in. They kick into action, and at one point he goes down, 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 but in this like really quick vocal run, where it almost sounds like someone hitting something or like a gun firing off. The cleans come back to redo an edited take of the starting lines after a plethora of "when it all went silent," that then fades down as they keep like saying it fades down, and then that is the end of the album. It was a super solid album. And I don't know like what I've given other albums throughout this year, but this one here was easily a 10 out of 10 for me. Every song is fucking phenomenal. The lyrics are always on point with these guys. The guitar work was insane. The drum work was phenomenal. The album artwork is really cool. The lyrics, like, they delve into some real world topics as well as just being lyrics. So you got to give a little head tilt, head nod, tip of the cap, you know, whatever euphemism you want to use to them for that. Like I said, I easily loved every second of it. I wish it was slightly longer, if anything. Like, give us one or two more tracks. I Fit for an Autopsy just never disappoint. And once again, I am sorry for accidentally calling you Fit for a King. It's just so like, why is there two similar names? No, but the top 4 songs for me. Number 1 is actually Lurch, followed by Red Horizon, Lust for the Severed Head, and then Weaker Wolves. So, yeah, if you're thinking of listening to this album and you're not sure which ones you want to start with, or just getting into this band in general, these are the 4 most recent songs that I think would help you listen to this album. Like, it kind of encompasses everything that they do. And if you like these 4, you'll like the other 6 songs. So, yeah. Let me know down below if you've listened to the album, if you enjoyed the album. With that being said, I think I only have one more video to record for the year, which is a 6-song roundup for a couple weeks' time, because some of the other videos are pre-recorded. Yes. So with that being said, I will see you in the next video, so you can expect, I believe, if my calendar is correct, next week there is the mystery upload and the end of year best of EPs, and then the week after that, on the 27th, we will have the 6-song roundup finale of the year. That will be getting recorded and worked on probably next week or soonish. So with that being said, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Remember to stay safe out there, my friends. Goodbye.